Well, the third group is Respite Care Atlanta, and we're so glad to have you two in the room. Come and share with us and welcome to Wednesday night. This is the Wednesday night crowd. I promise that they will not rush the podium. They won't throw a cold hot dog. They're nice people. And we're glad y'all are here. So come tell us about who you are and also Respite Care.
Thank you so much, John. I'm John also. I'm John Stewart, and I'm a volunteer at Respite Care Atlanta, which happens right downstairs in this building or a building around here somewhere in the basement in the youth space. So first of all, I want to thank John for this primetime speaking slot. This is great. And secondly, thank all of you in the congregation for your generosity in sharing that space, which just works beautifully for us down there. We typically have about 20 or 25 people in that room Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the program day, and it's just perfect for us. So we really are so very, very grateful. Respite Care Atlanta does some good Matthew 25 work. You remember Matthew 25, you're tending the sick, you're visiting those in prison, you're feeding the hungry and so forth. In our case, we're tending the sick, and more specifically, those who are suffering from dementia. And we'll learn more about dementia this evening. But I do want you to know that we are what's called a social model. We're not a medical model. We have no doctors. We don't dispense pills or anything like that. What we do, and our mission statement is really quite simple. We exist to bring joy to our members, those with dementia, and a short respite or break for their caregivers. And boy, you talk about a tough, stressful job. That is one. So 4 hours of freedom for the caregiver is a blessing to them for sure. We are interdenominational, interfaith, and we are supported by nine congregations, Second-Ponce being one, and I think I can remember them all. We'll see. Starting to the north, Peachtree Road Methodist Church is our northernmost. Then coming down to Amen Corner here, we've got St. Philip's Cathedral across the street, Christ the King next door, and Second-Ponce where the magic happens downstairs. Going on to Midtown, there's the Temple and First Presbyterian Church, and then all the way downtown is All Saints and St. Luke's Episcopal Church, which happens to be my church. We will talk about the benefits of Respite Care Atlanta to the various stakeholders, but Reverend John asked me to tell you a little bit about the history and how we got started. So here's the story. There was a fellow named Charlie Schaffer, S-H-A-F-F-E-R. Charlie was a North Carolina boy, went to Chapel Hill, UNC, did pretty well there. He was Phi Beta Kappa and shooting guard on Coach Dean Smith's basketball teams of the early and mid-1960s. And oh, by the way, in the off season, he captained the tennis team. Kind of your all-American boy, right? Well, he went on to law school at Chapel Hill, graduated and took a job here in Atlanta with King and Spalding, moved along with his young wife, Harriet, to Atlanta. Was a very successful litigator with King and Spalding for a number of years, and then he had a career change. He actually ran the Bernie Marcus Autism Center for a number of years. And all this time is very, very active in civic affairs, including helping get the Olympics to Atlanta. And then things started to change. Charlie would sometimes seem to be a little confused. He missed some appointments. And this led to his initial diagnosis of MCI, mild cognitive impairment. Now, if we live long enough, we're all going to experience some of that, okay? I can promise you it's coming. But in some cases, it can, and in Charlie's case, it did become something much worse than that. And a couple of years later, this was about 10 years ago, he was diagnosed with full-blown Alzheimer's disease. But he and Harriet tackled this problem head-on, just like they did everything else in their lives. They worked tirelessly as advocates for Alzheimer's research and fundraising, and they were quite successful in those efforts. They were very well connected in town. But Harriet particularly wanted to do something with more immediate results, something to help families with Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. And so she did her homework. She Googled around and found this respite care model, which was actually being implemented over in Montgomery, Alabama. So she got her network of friends working to make this a reality. One of those friends was Reverend George Worth at First Presbyterian, pastor there. Well, George Worth had some friends, one of whom was Reverend Doc Hollingsworth. So you see how things work here? So he talked to Doc, and the two of them said, yeah, you know, we might have a place downstairs here for you, and the rest, as they say, is history. Respite Care Atlanta opened in the fall of 2018. Charlie Schaffer was still alive at that point, but unfortunately his disease had progressed to the point at that point in time where he couldn't participate. He was too far along in the journey. And we're going to talk about what happens in our program day downstairs. Jenna, our director, will talk about that. But I would like for us to get a little bit more understanding of what dementia is, what it isn't, and what we deal with downstairs. And there are a couple of good books. One of them is even a movie. Lisa Genova has written a book called Still Alice. Anybody familiar with that one? It was a movie as well. I haven't seen the movie. You've read the book. It's quite good. Her husband had Alzheimer's, and so she wrote this novel. It's fiction, but it's from the point of view of the person with dementia, which in her real life experience was her husband. And then another one by Jean Denton that I just love the title, Walking Each Other Home. And isn't that what we're all doing with one another, walking each other home? We got a short video that Randy or Ron are going to cue up for us here. This is a video by a lady named Teepa Snow, who has dedicated her life to helping families with some form of dementia. So, fellas, whenever you're ready, you can roll that first one.
So the first question is it or is it not dementia? But we actually have a question before that. Normal aging, not normal aging. Because before we start assuming it's dementia, what we need to figure out is this normal for this person or is something changing? And if it's changing, is it necessarily permanent or could it be something that we could fix, we could address, we could modify. A couple of examples to keep in mind would be something like depression, which is treatable, hypothyroid, treatable, medication problems, treatable, even a problem with hearing that nobody's picked up on, or a problem with vision, or a problem with a new medical condition, maybe like diabetes or something. So what you want to notice first is there a change? Is something changing? And don't make assumptions. We want to check things out. People deserve a good workup. We don't want to think, oh yeah, look, it's not normal, it's dementia. We want to think, I don't know that this is normal for this person. Something seems to be changing. And if we notice the change, we want to find out, can we do something? And if we do that and we're still going, ugh, something's going on here, we don't want to make the next leap, which is, it's got to be Alzheimer's. It's bound to be Alzheimer's. Not necessarily. This is where there's a lot of misunderstanding about what's dementia and what's Alzheimer's. And what does it mean? It doesn't mean memory problems. When we talk about dementia, we need to be thinking about a great big umbrella term. A great big umbrella, as a matter of fact, that we find underneath that umbrella approximately 85 to 90 different conditions, forms, causes of this thing called dementia. And dementia is not maybe what you think it is. It's more, and it's different. Alzheimer's is under there. It's certainly one of the big boxes under there, but it's not the only box. And what we used to think, 80 to 90% of all dementias are Alzheimer's. Now we know they may be mixed pictures, a couple, or a different one entirely. Things like Lewy body or frontal temporal dementias, or maybe vascular dementia, or dementia that comes with a health condition. And we think now that dementia actually isn't a diagnosis. So if somebody has been diagnosed as having dementia, something's not right already, because you don't get a diagnosis of dementia. When you have dementia, you have a syndrome, a collection of symptoms. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to know we're under the umbrella. Well, what does it mean to be under the umbrella, to have dementia? Well, it means 4 things, typically. Number 1, at least 2 parts of your brain are dying. They're changing, and we can't fix them right now. So your brain is changing on you, at least 2 parts. One of them will typically be related to memory, but not always in the way we think about. It's not always the can't remember new things, but do remember old things. For alcohol-related dementia, I have blackouts, but they might be a variety of blacked out or missing pieces. For vascular, I again could have a whole bunch of different memory issues. And for frontal temporal, I may think something happened that you don't remember happening. So with memory, it's important to recognize it's not just the standard thing. Now, the second thing that's true about all dementias is that right now, we currently have nothing that's going to fix it, cure it, make it go away, or even stop it in its tracks. So what we have to realize is we're going to have to figure out how to help somebody live with it. And on average, for all the dementias, if we considered all of them, we'd be talking about 8 to 12 years of symptoms. Now, it could be shorter, it could be longer, but 8 to 12 years is a long time to endure something that the third thing that's true about all dementias is constantly changing. And it's constantly changing because this is a neurodegenerative or a progressive illness. It's not going to stop until it's over. And now we get to the fourth thing that's true about all dementias. They're all terminal. But frankly, so's life. So what we've got to stop thinking is, oh no, and start going, oh, I'm going to have to make some changes. I'm going to have to do something, because I am living with someone who's living under the umbrella. Now, let me say that again. When one person gets dementia, it doesn't just affect that one person. Everyone around them is going to be living with dementia, one way or the other. So this one person got chosen, but it's not a choice they would have ever made. You choose. And the question is, will you pull together and support that person, or will you fall apart and walk away? Will you wear yourself out and not make a positive difference? The purpose and the reason I do what I do is to help you do what you do. And that's where we can make the change happen. I can't change the condition. I can't make the changes stop. But what I can do is offer you ways to start changing, to better match what they're able to do, to acknowledge what's missing and use what they still have left. There's life under the umbrella for all of us. Life under the umbrella is a challenge when it's in you, but it's also a challenge when you're living with the person who's experiencing it. The choice is yours. With dementia, let's pull together, let's change, because the change is happening.
Okay, so there's a little background, but as Teepa Snow says, there are a good many things that we can do to make life better for those living with dementia and their families. And now I'll ask Jenna to come up and talk about what happens downstairs at Respite Care Atlanta.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Some of you I've seen before in the hallways, or your volunteers. Some I haven't, so it's nice to see you all. As John mentioned, I'm the director at Respite Care Atlanta. I joined in April of last year, and it was a very humbling experience to come in and see this group of volunteers who've been giving their heart and soul to these families, who managed to do it through the pandemic virtually with lawn visits and meal drop-offs, and they never missed a beat. At RCA, our goal each program day is to keep our members engaged with activities that are meaningful and fun, but that are also dementia-friendly and also uphold their dignity. The day starts with arrivals. Maybe you've seen us out there on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in your classic carpool line, getting people out of the car and in the building. They come downstairs. They're paired with a volunteer for the day, a companion who stays with them. We start off with a cup of coffee. My volunteers in the room, cover your ears. It's decaf. That's the big secret. We have snacks, we have conversation, we get ready for our day. Next, we move over to the main area for what we call our morning circle activities, and these are cognitive activities. This is a chance for us to warm up our brains and get ready for the day. We might do happy news stories or trivia or word association games or watch some comedy clips. And let me tell you, finding old SNL or Johnny Carson clips that are acceptable in a church, that is a difficult task. So if you got any suggestions for classic comedy clips, let me have them. We've done Carol Burnett, I Love Lucy. We're running out of ideas. So please help us out. We do all sorts of things in that circle to get everyone together and ready for the day. We build that momentum throughout the day. After we're nice and warmed up, we do art projects, or we have a beautiful garden, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that we're so lucky to have in this space, Sarah's garden, that we'll go out and do some planting or just walk around and look at the plants that are growing. We have a wonderful, first we do exercise. Some of you may know Young Washington over at the Wellness Center. We're lucky to have him come in once or twice a week with us and do some seated Tai Chi and seated yoga. Chef Glenn prepares us a lunch every day, and I really love to brag about him when I talk to families who are interested, and I tell them that we can accommodate any dietary restrictions. It is true. That man is wonderful. We have a member who only eats grilled cheese, and he makes him a grilled cheese every day he's here. So, I mean, when I say we can accommodate our members, we really can. After lunch is when it really gets exciting. We play games. We're a very competitive group. It might be Jeopardy or Family Feud, but our favorite is team competition. We play seated badminton, seated volleyball, a game we invented called Soccer, which gets very vicious. The volunteers in the room can attest to that. It's a combination of soccer and hockey that we play with pool noodles. Today, we even played our own version of table tennis, where we sat around a table and swatted at balloons with pool noodles at each other. We started with 1 balloon and ended with 10, and I think our faces were hurting by the end. We were laughing so hard. And then we always end the day with a musical performance. Maybe you've seen a bluegrass group come in, or the king himself, Elvis, but we always have something that will get everyone moving and happy as they finish their day with us. But regardless of the day's activities, we are sure to cram as much love and joy as possible in the room. Doesn't matter what we're doing, we're going to have a good time doing it. I tell each of our members on their first visit, this is a social club, first and foremost. You have worked hard your whole life, and now it's time to have a little fun. And we mean it. We want to have fun every day. We want to laugh with our members and show them love and remind them that they are still people who are worth something. And what I love most is that even though they're going through this and they are changing and they are becoming someone they weren't before, they are still touching lives. They are touching the lives of our members and our staff and the people in our community. And our volunteers are doing that as well. They're also touching the lives of our members and of each other. It's such a wonderful community we've built down there. And the love you feel when you walk into that space can be overwhelming at times. You might be shocked to see the variety of backgrounds that we have in the room. Unfortunately, dementia does not discriminate, and sometimes that's the hardest part. Our youngest member is 65 years old, and our oldest member just turned 92 last week. Right now, our average age is about 80. The backgrounds we have in the room are doctors and lawyers, professors, teachers, former athletes, world travelers, and they're all going through a similar experience. And we provide them a safe space where they don't have to pretend to know what's going on. We all wear name tags, we all go through the day together, we all do the activities. They don't need to pretend. They don't need to wear that mask and act like, I understand. We give them permission to just be themselves, who they are in this moment. Sorry. And what's beautiful as well is that they're making friends. They might not remember their friend's name, but a part of their body recognizes that individual. We have two members, Isaac and Jeff, names changed, who started at the same time, and now around the same time, and now every time they see each other, they embrace in a warm hug and shout, "There's my buddy," or "I love that guy, he's hilarious." When we're playing games, they make faces at each other and crack each other up. And what's funny to me is that when Jeff first started, I didn't think he was gonna stay. His very first day when he walked in and everyone greeted him and they said, "How are you this morning?" He said, "I'd rather be playing tennis." And I thought, oh man, we're throwing chickens downstairs today. This isn't gonna work out. And now when people come and visit, he tells them, I didn't think I was gonna like it here, but now I love it and I wanna be here every day and you're gonna love it too. And that means so much to all of us to know that our members enjoy it. But it's not just about our members, it's also about our caregivers. They go through so much. They are caring full time for another human being, and they are losing time for themselves. They are losing themselves in their caregiving. To be able to tell a wife or a husband or an adult child, go do what you need to do and don't feel bad about it. We got it. We got it for 4 hours and it's all gonna be okay. The relief that we hear and the tears that we see shed is moving. On Jason's first day, his wife told me how nervous she was. So about halfway through the day, I called. And whenever I call family during the day, I always start off with, "Everything's fine." Phone call for me is very scary, so I always start off with, "Everything is fine." And I asked her, I said, "I just want to know how you are, because I know you were stressed this morning dropping him off." And she said, "This is crazy. I feel like it's the first day of kindergarten, but it's not a 5-year-old, it's my husband. And I'm just so scared." And I said, "It's okay. We're gonna do this one day at a time." About 6 weeks later, during afternoon pickup, carpool, I walked out to the car before all our members came out, and I asked her, I said, "How are you doing? How's it going?" And she said, "I can relax." And I forgot what it meant to relax. I know he's safe and loved and having fun, and I can just be me for a few hours. And let me tell you, I had to fight back those tears, because that's exactly what we're here for. A major symptom of dementia is insomnia. We have a member who often, she will roam her house all night, which means her husband is right on her heels all night. And by the time she goes to sleep, it's time for him to be up and start prepping for the day. So sometimes I'll ask him, "How was your day today?" "I took a nap." That's all I needed, was to take a nap. I've had caregivers who had to come pick up loved ones because they were having an off day and say, "Oh, I hope this doesn't happen on Thursday. I have a hair appointment." No task is too little or too small or too big. They deserve the time, and we're here to give that to them. And I could go on with stories. I have tons of them, but we don't want to be here all night. So I'll stop there. As I mentioned, we do have a beautiful garden that we've been able to have because of the church and you all. And I believe we have a video to show of that garden. This is a highlight for our members. As I mentioned, we do projects out there, but it's also a therapeutic space. back over to John.
Let me just say, well, I bet you most of the people in this room did not know all of that was right outside the walls, right here at Second-Ponce Church. That garden is right out there, but you never see it. It's down from Wesley Road and out from the youth group, and it's amazing what's been done out there.
I hope we'll have time to go down there.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be happy to take anybody down there who hasn't seen it or would like to revisit it. Of course, it changes with the seasons, and some of the most fun things for our members is when the blueberries and the cherry tomatoes are on the vine, and we can walk right out there and pick them and eat them right there. Oh, it's great. Well, thank you, Barbara. I want to talk a little bit about volunteering. We've talked about benefits to members and benefits to caregivers, which are pretty obvious. But we've got a number of roles for volunteers, and those roles are tremendously rewarding as well. Barbara's a volunteer. Gail back there is a volunteer. We've got 150 volunteers, mostly from those 9 congregations, but not exclusively. We've got others as well. And you would think, gee, that's a big number. You can do most anything with 150 volunteers. Well, not necessarily. Keep in mind, it takes about 25 or 30 volunteers per day to make the program work. So sometimes it can be a challenge, particularly in the summertime when folks migrate to the mountains and the beach. It's a little bit difficult. And also, right now we're just 3 program days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. At some point, we'd like to open a 4th program day as well. So we could really use more volunteers. There are lots of different roles. We've got greeters who come first thing in the morning and get the coffee started. Some of them will help our members out of their cars and get them safely passed off to their companions for the day, get them safely downstairs to the youth space, the RCA space. We have lunch servers that come in about 11 o'clock and are usually gone about 1 after lunchtime. We have goodbyes who are coming in at 1 o'clock and are, after helping their member get back upstairs, making the return trip and safely into their cars, they're gone by about 2:30. Companions is the role that is the most time-consuming. That is the person who serves as the member's friend for the day. So the companion is with that member from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And you know something? It's really good for 1 hour or 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever role you sign up for, is that you get out of your own thoughts and your own agenda and your own ego, and you're totally focused for that amount of time on somebody else who really needs your guidance and assistance. And that is a blessing indeed to the volunteers. But one thing that Jenna touched on, and we've got one more video coming up that may show this better than either of us can express it, is you just wouldn't believe the joy that we experience in the circle downstairs with our members. And I sometimes feel a little bit guilty that we're doing so much good for these families, so many good Matthew 25 works, and it's so much fun. We have so much fun at the same time. It is the most joyful ministry I've ever been associated with. If anyone has any questions after we finish up, I'll be glad to take them, and Jenna as well. But let's roll the last video about volunteering at RCA.
Respite Care Atlanta supports individuals with cognitive challenges and their family caregivers in a safe, caring, faith-based community setting. Whether the memory challenge is created by medication or medical conditions such as stroke, dementia, or Parkinson's disease, Respite Care Atlanta provides a comfortable and stimulating environment for members to spend the day with wonderful new and old friends. At the same time, family caregivers are able to pause and enjoy some personal time away from their daily care concerns. With the exception of our director and one part-time volunteer coordinator, Respite Care Atlanta services are driven by trained volunteers.
It's volunteer, but it doesn't feel like you're volunteering. It feels like you're coming to be with your friends.
Our volunteers' contributions allow us to provide a unique, affordable, social recreational service program to as many people as possible.
Because it's so different from what I thought it was going to be. But that it would be tiring, and that it would be difficult, and that it would be maybe in some ways a little bit of a downer. It has turned out to be the exact opposite of those. It's one of the most energizing things I've ever been involved in. We have a wonderful time. Our members have a wonderful time. It's just so special, and it's so, as I said, energizing. That's just the best word I can use for it, because it is energizing to them and to us.
We positively support each member guest and their family as they travel a particularly difficult part of life's journey. Since Atlanta Respite Care's initiation, family responses have been overwhelmingly positive. Some even say life-changing.
But it's made my husband really happy. He's a much happier person than he was when he started.
When I come over here to the church to pick her up, when she comes off the elevator, she's laughing, she's smiling, she's happy about what has been going on for the last 5 hours. And it truly makes a difference in her attitude.
But when I pick him up in the afternoon after doing all my grocery shopping and my errands that I always pile up, he comes out and he says, "This was a great day." And he said, "You were right, I had a wonderful day every single time." So it's just been a blessing from the Lord.
Come and see the fun. The fun! Oh, we have fun. We laugh all day long. It's a fun, joyful place. It's stimulating, both to the members and to the volunteers.
Respite Care Atlanta's ability to extend our program to more families will only expand in direct proportion to our ability to attract, maintain, and grow a vibrant community of dedicated volunteers. Volunteers participate in a wide variety of service activities. They can select activities that best fit their schedules and interests. Companion volunteers are especially critical to our program's success and our member guests' experiences. These incredible individuals enrich lives and create new friends every day. Here's how. Every member guest enjoys a personal companion. Their companion becomes a special friend for the day by encouraging, supporting, listening, talking, laughing, and just being there. Companions assist member guests as they move through a day's activities and locations.
Well, I think the challenge is to make sure that you don't push the club member too much, to kind of roll with his agenda, to let him do the things he wants to do and is comfortable in doing, to be supportive of him, and to try to engage him in as many of the activities as he's willing to participate in. And
each day, volunteer companions and members are assisted by greeters, escorts. These volunteers furnish additional handshakes, smiles, hugs, and assurance as they facilitate morning arrivals. They provide name badges and words of welcome while opening doors, moving wheelchairs, walkers, tables, chairs, giving directions, or navigating stairs and elevators.
I'm greeter. It suits me best to be the greeter in the mornings and come in and get organized and go through the checklist. And it's such a camaraderie. Early in the morning is just the hostesses and hosts, and then we get ready for the members to arrive. And it's just a very satisfying morning.
Volunteers serve daily catered lunch meals. They attend to an individual member's special needs, plan seating, plate and distribute food, and then clean the dining and serving area. Volunteers with specific talents are needed to plan and execute programs, activities, discussions, and group experiences that engage and challenge every participant and foster social connections internally and throughout the community.
But we would like to grow to be a 4-day-a-week program with 20 members each day. So that's going to take a lot of volunteers.
Respite Care Atlanta hopes that you'll fit one or more of these services into your busy schedule. Please don't hesitate. You might miss one of the most joyful groups of people you'll ever know. Make new friends here, or perhaps treasure some of your older ones. Energy, enthusiasm, and caring hearts drive our program.
Come and observe, and not just 30 minutes. If you could come and participate in 2 activities, maybe music, maybe art, maybe lunch. If you could just go and see, I think you'd pick up immediately in how happy and wonderful and awesome and fulfilling it is.
Atlanta Respite Care welcomes anyone with willing hands and hearts open to loving your neighbors. Will you help?
And to encourage them in a little bit different manner with a little bit different smile that makes them happy. And once the mission is accomplished, you're just not going to, you would not even think about the joy that it brings them.
Your efforts are appreciated. Your rewards are priceless.
I just think it's a powerful thing that we have the ability as volunteers to make someone's day special.
Well, thank you for indulging us with those videos. Maybe we captured some of the spirit of Respite Care Atlanta. I don't know, but it is something that you really have to experience to appreciate. Now, of course, Jenna, being the efficient director she is, has a few hundred extra brochures about the program, specifically about volunteering in the program. So if your heart is beating fast and you think this might be a good fit for you, we can give you the information. We can take your email address. We can invite you to the next potential volunteer onboarding session, which I think is Monday, June the 12th. But we can tell you a lot between then and now. So thank you once again for coming. And Jenna, did you want to say anything else? Okay, and anyone who wants to go visit the garden, we can do that too. Thank you so much.
Yes, come Barbara. Say it into the microphone then. I'm going to get it.
Well, let me just say, when I was considering this, I didn't know whether I would fit in or it would be for me. So they said, come visit. So I visited 2 different days. At that time, it was only Tuesday and Thursday. And so I came on Tuesday and went through the program, came on Thursday and went through the program. And I said, yeah, I think I can do this. So I think if you're feeling, a little hesitant or not knowing, try it out. Come and visit and see if you think you'll fit in.
It sounds like all you need to do is be friendly. And this room is full of friendly people. I mean, there's a couple of you that are a pain. But
it's okay, you can serve lunch.
That's right. We'll keep you away from the people.
Put you in the back.
I talked to Jonathan earlier today and told him that we may make it downstairs depending on the program. And I think anyone who hasn't seen Sarah's Garden but wants to, I'll certainly walk down with whomever wants to go down to the youth area to do that tonight. But it's not necessary. But as we do close, I think one of the last 2 weeks we've been in spaces that we don't share. Right? They've got a key, they lock up, and they leave for the day. And, I hadn't even been in the Alma Davis place before 2 weeks ago. But respite care and youth ministry share that space. And it's been really wonderful to see Jenna and all of the ways in which they navigate one another so well and share that space so well. And it's I believe, one of the ways in which our organizations show the love of Christ in cooperation. So I wanted to just make sure you knew where it happened, down in the youth area, and anyone that would like to go down there, you certainly can. And they keep a meticulous organized space, and George helped the youth ministry get that way last year, and so before Jonathan came. So it's beautiful space. Any other questions or comments before we? Yes, Gail. Hold on. Speak into the mic.
So my question is, do the caregivers, do the companions and the person that they're the member, are they always paired together, or can it change?
It changes. So we do pairings every day, depending on who's there. So we swap people around, and we do it by personality on both sides. If you're super, super chatty, we're going to put you with a member who's super, super chatty. Gail and Barbara know exactly who I'm talking about that's super chatty. John does too. A member, not you, Gail, Thomas. But, we also like to rotate because what we're doing is hard. And as Teepa said, no one's getting better. And we get attached. Cassie, our program manager, always says every departure is a new heartbreak. But if we can kind of move around the room, we can try to kind of keep that attachment off. We fail every single time. We're all so attached. That's what makes the room so beautiful. But it's really great to get to know each other, and the members really thrive off getting to know all the different personalities. So we definitely swap people around. And if you're a new companion, we keep you with members who need less accommodation than others, because everyone has different needs. So we put you with who you're comfortable with as well. So we always take all of that into consideration.
That's a great question. Gail, Thomas. I think you were talking about her as Miss Chatty.
No, I've never used one of these.
Well, you're doing good.
Look at it, it's a lollipop. Anyway, I've said this in front of the church before, and I'll say it again. Other than being with my own family and my friends, I'll have to say that I'm a companion, and working with these people is the best thing I've ever done. It's just so fulfilling. I leave when I leave, and my heart is full, and everything they say about it is true. It's just a really fun time. There's no downtime at all. It's just fun. They won't let us be down.
No.
If you're feeling down today, don't come. No, they don't do that. But anyway, it's awesome. It's totally an awesome program.
Thank you, Gail.
And companions get free lunch.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you all very much. I'll meet anyone who wants to go see Sarah's Garden and their spaces at the elevator after we're done. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you.